Our story begins with Venom fighting Carnage in a building. Then we see that Venom is saying arrangements must be made. You're the number 999. Now for those who don't know, symbiotes have a number for each generation. For example, Venom is the number 998, and Carnage is the number 999. That's because Carnage is Venom's offspring, and the higher the number is, the more powerful the symbiote is. And from the talk between Venom and Carnage, we find that Carnage is going to give birth to the symbiote, which holds the number 1000. Back to our story. We find that Carnage wants to kill the symbiote to make sure that he is the strongest. And then he swings Venom far away. Carnage goes back to the ground and begins digging a tunnel down. Suddenly, a huge explosion occurs. Officers go to the place to investigate the explosion. Then one of the officers, Patrick Mulligan, looks down to see what's inside of the huge hole. He sees Cletus Cassidy inside with the Carnage symbiote torn up. Then Cletus regains the symbiote and jumps up from the hole. Because Carnage just gave birth to the new symbiote, he is weakened temporarily and doesn't have the strength to kill the new symbiote. So he implants the new symbiote in Mulligan and swings away to return to kill it when he regains his strength. Venom gets up from the water and says that he can feel it. There is a new symbiote on Earth. He must protect it from its father. Back at Mulligan's house, Mulligan is having a conversation with his pregnant wife, when suddenly a huge shadow appeared behind him. Venom breaks into the apartment and tells him that he wants to protect the symbiote. Spider-Man appeared to help them, and fight between the two started. Mulligan and his wife ran out of the apartment, but there they found Carnage waiting for them. He pushed the wife off the floor. Carnage took Mulligan with him. Venom interfered to not let Carnage take Mulligan. Back to the wife. Spider-Man saved her and took her to the hospital. Carnage tries to kill Mulligan, but Mulligan dodges the attack. Black Cat, who overheard the screams, swings to help. Venom jumps in, striking Carnage, and a fight between the two started. Venom takes Carnage and puts him on the rail. And when the high-speed train came, Venom jumped. In the next day, Mulligan and his wife are in the hospital with their newly born son. And Venom is watching over him on from the roof of the hospital. While Mulligan was working, he was hearing Toxin talking to him inside his head. A report came to the police office about an art that was stolen. Mulligan knew it was Black Cat who did it. He goes to her to ask her about it. Suddenly they hear a strange sound. Cletus Cassidy walked in and webbed Black Cat. Then he threw her away. Carnage began webbing Mulligan. A red symbiote began appearing on him. Toxin covers all of Mulligan's body. Toxin began hitting Carnage brutally. While Venom was looking at them from outside, Toxin webbed Carnage and threw him away in the distance. Mulligan threw up after changing back to himself. After the fight, Venom says while he is leaving, "You can't watch over them forever." In a family meeting, Mulligan realized that he is faster and his senses are greater. Mulligan decides to go out and use his powers. In an apartment, Cletus is ironing a shirt and having a conversation with Carnage about Toxin, and why did they lose to him. Mulligan was thinking that he could end it right here and right now. Carnage attacks Mulligan through the wall. Carnage pulls Mulligan inside the apartment. Mulligan says, "I need you, come out." Toxin covers up Mulligan's body saying, "That's more like it." Toxin starts beating Carnage and throwing him around. Toxin holds Carnage by the neck. Then he says, "I can't do it in cold blood." Then he jumps out from the window. The next day, Venom and Carnage are discussing about teaming up against Mulligan, because he could become an ally for Spider-Man. A bank robbery was happening, and Mulligan went there as Toxin and begins fighting them. When he was fighting them, Toxin holds one of the robbers, and his tongue goes around the robber's head. Toxin says that he can eat their brains from their eye socket. But then Mulligan says, "I'm a police officer, I have to control my powers," and throws the robber away. While he was searching them, Spider-Man came to the scene and liked Toxin's doing, and said that he can sense that this is the beginning of a beautiful relationship between the two. At Randolph's funeral, the man who Cletus killed, Black Cat asks Mulligan, why did he come? He tells her he feels kind of responsible for his death. Suddenly, we see Carnage and Venom running towards the funeral. Carnage and Venom rushed at Mulligan and Black Cat. Toxin quickly covers Mulligan's body and takes a blow from Venom. Spider-Man's spider sense goes off while convincing some people, so he swings to action. Carnage and Venom throw Toxin around. Carnage holds Toxin to the ground and Venom takes a tombstone to hit Toxin with it. Black Cat tries to convince them to stop because they are family. They refuse to stop. Then she asks why is there web on Venom's head. Spider-Man pulls Carnage and Venom into a huge tombstone. Spider-Man jumps in and starts beating them. But they get him and hold him to the ground. Toxin tells them to let him go. They look behind to find him looking a lot bigger. Then Toxin starts beating Carnage. Black Cat and Spider-Man start fighting Venom, while Toxin is fighting Carnage and screams at him what they did to him and his wife. Venom and Carnage swing away after losing to them. Spider-Man calms Toxin down, who is furious and angry. They chat a little bit and Toxin changes back into Mulligan. Mulligan asks Spider-Man, how can he balance between his normal life and his hero life? Spider-Man says to him that is a great question. If you come up with a good answer, I'll be glad to hear it. At home, Mulligan sees that his son is eating on a finger, so he figures it dropped from his pocket when he kissed him. He goes down and throws it in the water. When he's going back, he questions himself about risking his family. He decides to leave his family for their safety. While he's packing some stuff, his wife began to cry and begs him to stay. He tells her that he loves them so much, and he can't tell her why he's leaving. Then he gets out of the door and leaves. He doesn't know where he's headed, but he has a creature inside of him and he will try and use it for good. That's the end of Toxin's origin story. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.